ke mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna no e au, o nā mele.
Aloha all of you who have come to another session of Nohona Hawaii. And Nohona Hawaii means a way of living. If I said Nohona Hawaii, a way of living in the Hawaiian way. So the topics that I have selected for this semester's presentation highlight some important areas of, one, having knowledge and understanding, and two, to examine how that information might have meaning for us today in our daily lives. And in the schedule that I had proposed from the beginning, we were going to be looking at how do I help myself in today's world, but recognizing a very Hawaiian way of doing it. So that's the topic for today, yeah. And I happen to believe that many of the principles that guided Hawaiians to survive in these islands over the centuries still has meaning for us today, because it's all about getting along with one another. And I'm sure before you came that you were probably prepared to know a little bit about myself. One of the things in life that I have learned is never make an assumption, because that assumption may be way off from what actually has happened. So just a little bit about who I am. My parents were Lydia Kaikainahaule. She came, her father was a pure Hawaiian and her mother was a pure Japanese, who, when the Japanese came to Hawaii in the 1800s, was born in these islands, but her mama died at birth. And her father got so despondent, returned to Japan with his son, but left the daughter in Hawaii and gave the daughter to Hawaiian family to be reared. So by blood, by DNA, my grandmother was pure Japanese, but she spoke fluent Hawaiian. She lived a very Hawaiian way of living. She also had some gifts, spiritual gifts. She could see ghosts. She saw spirits, but she didn't know how to deal with it. So her marriage to my grandfather, who was Hawaiian, was great for them because he knew how to deal with the ghosts. Yeah. Why do I mention that? Because in the line of work I do in healing, I have to be aware of people's backgrounds and to not leave those who are in pain and hurting, to not leaving them with Hawaiian problems without Hawaiian solutions. My grandmother could see these things, and that got her frightened and scared, a Hawaiian problem. My grandfather was the healer who knew the solutions, yeah? He knew how to deal with it. He knew how to remove it. He knew how to appease the spirits. So I mentioned that to you because I'm a Ho'oponopono practitioner of today. And in the line of work I do, in a Western way as a social worker, but also if I pick up a family has some Hawaiian problems in their lives, I can switch from the Haole way, I can go the Hawaiian way. Yeah. So in the course of my 50-something years, I got a Haole education in social work. And in that way, I learned about how people's thinking are affected within the total body. Yeah. The spirit within their guts, the na'au, and it helps to guide them on choices that they make. Now, switch to my father's side. Pure Hawaiian father, pure Hawaiian parents, very much into their culture. We hear about the gods, Kane, Ku, Lono, Kanaloa. Well, my father's side of the family lived in a very isolated valley on the island of Molokai. And so Westernization came to that valley much later than other places. So from his living experiences, I got a glimmer of the old Hawaiian way that he lived, and he tried to pass on to me and my sister. So that's my background. But both my parents believed in an education. And they said to me, you gotta live the Haole way in order to get along. So guess what happened? They never taught me the language. Every effort was put into helping me study, do my lessons, learn math, and learn about history, and learn about cooking, and learn about getting along, geography. So it was all up here. But in my family home, we learned how to live the Hawaiian way, which is getting along, respecting the elders, not waiting for people to tell you what to do, but to use your eyes, your ears, what you see happening around that tells you messages of what needs to be done. So my very strict Hawaiian father expected my sister and I to do that, and expected us to know better. How many of you have heard the words, "You're supposed to know that. Why are you doing this?" Yeah. And what your parents are saying is, you got the eyes, you got the hearing, you've heard me say this to you time and time again. You're supposed to know it. You're supposed to do it. And my father, and because we didn't respond in the way he expected it, we got it. You know, the hand and the ni'au. The ni'au is the midrib of the coconut leaf, and it was in a bundle, and it was always at hand. So we got it on the legs. It was a reminder to us, think, don't get me to have to say it. So very early, yeah, I was encouraged to use the eyes, the ears, and to remember. So I didn't have to be reminded of how to demonstrate respect for my elders. I didn't have to be reminded that you are part of a family, a Hawaiian family, that helps each other without having to be told. I had a cousin who married a woman from the Midwest. When she came to Hawaii, she had a habit of wanting to be a part of what was taking place, but she needed to be told what to do. And yet, it was obvious. Dishes were piling up in the sink and all of that. And it didn't dawn on her. It would be okay for her to put her 2 hands to work. Yeah. She was waiting to be told. And of course, she's the guest, so we cannot force her to work. The dilemma, culture conflicts. Until finally, I said, this cannot go. And I sat her down and I explained the Hawaiian way. The Hawaiian way is, if you see things that need to be done, don't wait to be told. Stand up and go do it. Make yourself useful. And in that way, we pick up another message. You're willing to be like us. We break the kapu. If we put her in the position, who's the guest, to have to do something. So we cannot do that. But she on her own can initiate that. Now, so why am I taking this long to give you folks examples of where I come from? And that's because these are examples of being raised in a Hawaiian way that I learned in my family that has stood me in good stead no matter what group of people I encounter. I had my education, higher education on the mainland, Bradley University in Illinois. And when I went home with my friends on vacation, the way I lived at home, I did the same thing. But my observation of seeing the mother of the household in the kitchen and the daughter sitting in the living room and reading the newspaper and watching the TV created conflict in me. Created conflict in me because I don't honor my elders that way by sitting while they're working to wait on me, the younger generation. So I stood up and I went into the kitchen. While she was busy at the stove, I saw the dishes. I didn't say anything. I just went to cleaning. She felt so badly. She said, "No, you're the guest in our house. Go sit down." So you know what I said? I said, "I want to feel comfortable in your home. I want this house to be comfortable for you and for me. And in my house, if we see the elders needing help, we go help. So if you don't mind, allow me to feel comfortable in your home, because by doing the dishes, I'm going to feel like my old self in my own home." And when I explained that to her, she said, "Okay, you go and do that." And I said, "I don't mind talking story with you while I'm working." Now she appreciated that because it gave her an opportunity to ask questions about my life in Hawaii. Otherwise, she was like the servant trying to honor me. And in my sense of family relationships, you don't build relationships by keeping yourself away from each other. So the Hawaiian way is, to be helpful, to be respectful, and to honor the elders. And that at the end of 4 days, she said to me, "Thank you so much for teaching me some lessons I need to teach my daughter." And that's all she said. Yeah. So, the lifestyle that I had in Hawaii prepared me to engage with other people of other cultures. And the Western education I had helped me to not shut up and keep my mouth shut. I realized I needed to communicate what would be most helpful. And by learning how to raise my hand and speak up in class, I was able to have that become a part of my lifestyle to help me connect with other people. So, my experiences at home and away from home on my own gave me the chance to blend a Hawaiian way with the tools that I learned in school to make me be a person who is sensitive to other people and to figure out how to communicate with them so we can feel comfortable in the guts and you can then be yourself. Yeah. So your experience here at the university is another way that opens your life to learn how to do things in different ways that are helpful. But it doesn't negate the value of your home life. Okay? It doesn't negate it. There's going to be opportunity when you're going to be called upon to blend the two. And that's what living is all about. Being able to take the best of what comes from within your family, that's within you, and to take the best of what you get in your education, that becomes a part of you as well. And these tools becomes your guideline for how you conduct yourself. Okay? Now let me go away from my background and the combination of Hawaiian with Western. And let me talk about, you know, growing up in a Western way in the university, you learn to do many things that's different from home. Okay. You bombarded with assignments. And each class is independent of the other courses. Each class seems to come across as if that's the only course you're going to have. And you're bombarded with a lot of homework, a lot of reading that you have to do, a lot of writing that you're not accustomed to. In the field of academics at a university level, their aim, our aim here is to prepare you for living in the greater society. Now, if that's the perspective of one course, multiply it by 3 or 4 courses, and you never had so much homework in your whole life from high school. It's different. But you gotta make that adjustment. It's training for what you're going to experience in the next 4 or 5 years of your life. It's going to prepare you to multitask. It prepares you to have to focus, get the job done, move on to the next task. And that's what academics forces you to do. Yeah. So all the pressure, all the tension affects your mind. And then pretty soon, if you get behind in these assignments, it affects you in your gut, and you get butterflies, and you get twisted stomach, and you get self-doubts about whether or not you can do it. Gang, just know, it's par for the course. It's normal. I went through it myself. And it's normal, it's just what you have to experience and are going to experience throughout your life. If you can handle school, think of what it's like when you decide to find a partner and you're going to start a family. Think of all the different tasks that you have to adjust to and the responsibilities behind it. So what I'm saying is, this is the training grounds for multitasking. Yeah. So if you can negotiate system and the tasks thrown your way, you've got a good handle as you mature and go through life to deal with more human complex situations. School, you can shut the door and turn on the radio and blast. In human relationships, that comes into your personal relationships, you can turn it on and off like the water in a shower. It stays with you for life. That process of learning, Hawaiians had the same thing. And we have survived. I survived all the way to the master's degree in social work. I survived in my relationships with a partner, my lifetime partner, with 4 kids. And this was good training grounds for me. Yeah. So, stick it out. Now, let me share with you a secret that Hawaiians had. They learned very young that when you get upset and you have stress, that means your inner spirit feels upset. It's unbalanced. And the Hawaiian way, looking at an individual, like the Oriental philosophy, there is a balance between mind, spirit, and body. Hawaiians had something similar to that. Our spirit rests with our beliefs and our faith. For the Hawaiian, it's in the top of the head. And worse yet, if your problems get reflected in how you conduct yourself at home with the family, because you're stressed out, you only want to stay in your room, but you got the chores to do. And when you get to do your chores, you don't care what they're going to say because you're not up to it. So the family gets affected by your imbalance, okay? At the university, you gotta balance your academic load with your responsibilities, your kuleana at home as a functioning member of the family. And if you're also involved in other extracurricular activities, how do you balance all of that? Okay? How do you prevent the imbalance from affecting you so much that you have a negative reaction that causes you to lose confidence, that causes you to question, I'm stupid, I cannot handle, okay? That for some of us causes us to have illness. I don't feel good today. I have a mean headache and my stomach is turning and knotting. Okay, how do you help yourself come into balance? Okay, Hawaiians believe when your problems get reflected in your body symptoms, the beginning of an illness, the beginning of the body symptoms, they suggest you sit down and begin to reflect, what is happening in my life? How come this is taking place? And that exercise is intended to help you pinpoint what is triggering the tension. Then it alerts you to, what do I need to do to get the help I need? If it's because the lessons are over my head, I don't understand, learn from high school, you go talk. Get help from your teacher. Don't be self-conscious. Go out to get the help you need. Talk to your friends. Figure out, what do they do? What are their solutions? Can those solutions be solutions for you? If you need support, go to the people that you know that can help support you to do what you have to do. If the tension is related to things that are happening in your home that affects the family crisis throws people off balance. So it's not uncommon that our students drop out of school because of family crisis. I'm here to say, before you do that, think about the Hawaiian way. How do I help myself get into balance? One of the greatest resources that every one of us have potential to using and to turning to, that is your spiritual belief. Turn to your spiritual belief. Even if you're not strong, recognize that there's somebody that has greater power than you. It is often good to verbalize what your dilemma is to that greater power. For those who are steeped in their spiritual belief, the comfort comes easily. But for those who are not steeped, get connected or reconnected to that spiritual entity, because they're not going to wipe away your problems, but they will give you relief in knowing that you can deal with the problems one at a time. Yeah. If you try to solve your family problems, not going to happen. But what can you do for yourself? Sort out the problem areas. What is academic? Seek help in that field where it belongs. If it is one of finances, seek help to get information that can help you to either get a job or work on campus. So you're here and at least you're getting some kala to help you provide lunch, to provide snack. I put myself through the university. At one time I had 3 campus jobs, just so, because I wanted a car and I needed money. So I went ahead and I went hustle. And by gum gang, it's okay to hustle for the right reasons. So know there are resources on campus that you can turn to, yeah? But when it comes to family problems, you have to remember your place in your family. You can only do what you have control over. You cannot make things right for other members of their family because you may be the youngest kid on the totem pole and the older ones ain't gonna listen to you, okay? Unless in your family, you're the oldest child. If you're the oldest child, you have more privileges than the younger siblings. So, how do you help yourself? Examine what are things under my control that I can help in. The parts that's not in my control, I cannot do anything. The authority is not mine. But the parts of my life that I have control over, I need to decide what course of action I can take that can help me, but by helping myself, it helps my family. And maybe the problem revolves around something that I've done. And so, in my life, I reflect on knowing what's in my control, but I also have to look at my conduct and determine how I may have contributed to that problem. Because I'm the first to go to the university, I get hoity-toity. I think I'm better than the rest of my cousins. And yeah, I'm supposed to have the help of the family, yeah? My very attitude and my very expectation may be contributing to why I'm upset. My parents not going to stand for that kind of attitude. And then they don't understand what being a university student is all about. They don't. But how have you contributed to the misunderstanding? It may well be your attitude, the hoity-toity attitude that comes across, I'm better than you folks. So the first step is looking at yourself. How did I contribute to this misunderstanding? Was it something I did? Was it my attitude that came across? Was it something I said that hurt somebody? You know, at this age, we can be fast on the mouth, not realizing that our words cut our parents because they're working so hard to earn the money to help pay for tuition. That when you come home with this attitude, or when you come across and you say things in a non-appreciative way, it hurts people inside. And when people hurt inside, they're no longer relating to you with a full openness. So always, to bring balance in your life, reflect on the situation. Look at how you may have contributed to that situation. And then do what you can to bring harmony and love back in your relationship. So in Ho'oponopono, you got to begin with yourself. Don't expect the others to just cater. If relationship is important, it's a two-way street. And don't be ashamed or shy or bashful or scared to initiate that step to put your relationship into balance, especially with the ones that you love. For your part, this is what you can do. You don't have control over the other person, but at least in your mind and in your guts, you've done what was necessary to bring yourself into balance. That is restoring pono in yourself. The mind, through the reflection, you got information and knowledge. It reflected your contributions to the situation. The spirit, because you know that this is how you contributed to a negative relationship, that is putting your spirit back in alignment. And in the body, taking the steps and the actions necessary to make peace and to make harmony. And then you know, and the God that you believe in knows that you are doing things in a proper way. Yeah? So don't wait for other people to tell you. You have the capability to do it for yourself now. So in the way that you set things to right for the academic overload by going to get the help and clarification of what you need to know, you have the opportunity to bring into harmony that sense of tension and pressure within yourself related to family pressures. Okay? And spiritually, you are being led to doing what is proper and right on your part, because you cannot force the other people to agree. And once I do that, and because I know I'm in alignment, I don't have any guilt, it requires me to let it go. And I know that I may have tension with the other person. I don't make it my problem now. I let it go. And if they're not ready to connect again with me, that's okay, because that is their problem. Don't make it your problem again. Okay. So this idea of within you, the mind, the spirit, and the body, you can do something about bringing it into balance and into harmony. It guides you to what you have to do for yourself. Go to the people that you need help and support from. Listen to what they have to say. Okay? Think about you, yourself, and how you've contributed. And sometimes you may need to talk it out with a friend. You know, I was doing this and this and this and this, and I tried to do this, but they're still acting like this to me. Your friend might be able to say, hey, stop. When you bring the horse to the water, you cannot force the horse to drink the water. So stop beating your head on a rock. You can only do what you are capable of doing, and your friend will stand by you. So we call that make yourself pono when you figure out what you did to contribute to the problem. The moment you move into action to rectify your relationship with your friend or family member, you are practicing ho'opono. So it begins with you first to be pono. And then when you take the course of action, to go, for example, Ma, I gotta talk to you. Ma, I want you to know I'm very sorry. And I know my mouth and the words that I uttered hurt you. And I realize I did this to you. And I want you to know I love you, Mom. Can you forgive me? That process of communicating your insight about what you've done to the one with whom you had the difficulty, that process is ho'opono, because now your pono is coming to bear to restore that love and balance with the person you had difficulty with. Now, I'm sure in your lifetime, to the age that you're at, there were many times that you did this automatically, especially when you were young. You'd say, Mommy or Daddy, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. At the time, all you know is you cannot stand their love being removed from you. So you automatically go and do that. And in a way, it's words, but it's because you don't want to lose the love. As an adult, now you take responsibility for your actions in a knowing way. Very different. This is the mature way of dealing with interpersonal tension. And the timing is right for all of you. You're at that stage in life when you come to the university. There's a level of independence that you're exercising. With that level comes kuleana. It's not just a privilege. Comes kuleana for you to seriously look at how you may have contributed to a situation. And when you're able to practice this at home with your family, you develop a skill that will enable you throughout your life. And so I offer that to you folks as a tool by beginning with yourselves. Look at the situation. If you're unable to identify what you did, it's okay to go up to the person and say, I don't like the way we're treating each other. I still want to be your loving daughter, or I still want to be your friend. Help me. What did I do? So that you can begin to examine, is there truth in what was told you? If there is truth in what was said, then you accept the truth and the responsibility for it. The first step in recognizing you are responsible for your actions, you are responsible for your inactions because you made a commitment and you failed to follow through. You are responsible for the consequences. Therefore, it relies on you to take that step to the other person. Don't wait for the other person. Now, why is that one of the beginning tools you need to learn? Because in our society today, things happen in our life that we often put things aside and say we're going to get to it, but we never deal with it. And so what starts off as a little seed of tension gets put to the side, something else happens, and then it's dumped in that box because you got too many things you got to do. You cannot pay attention. With a lot of family problems and situations that we feel today, violence, family abuse, increased use of drugs and alcohol. These are all examples of how these little seeds of tension begin to pile up because they don't know how to deal with it. Why is there a problem with alcohol and drugs? Because under substance, I don't need worry about these cares. I cover it up and I shove it on the side. That's why you have an opportunity to learn how to deal with family problems now, at least for yourself, so you don't build problems upon layers of problems. Yeah. Hard to do. It's not easy. And especially if it's with your parents or with your siblings, when you get to meet with them and try to do ho'oponopono, the tears flow. You cannot help because the tears may represent how deeply bothered you have been and how sincere you feel about this effort. And you hope that your sincerity is not going to be thrown back in your face. Because if it gets thrown back in your face, you never want to open yourself again. That's why I advise you, no, you only have control over yourself. And if the person is not ready, you leave the problem with them. Don't compound it and say, it's me. Does that make sense? I bet in some of your experiences within your friendship or within your family, some of the things I said may have made sense. Okay. This is an example of the Hawaiian way. Ho'opono yourself, bring yourself in balance. Figure out what part of the mind, the spirit, or the body is out of sync. No, you got to bring it into alignment. And in order to do that, look for the help that you need for some of the techniques might be, especially for the body, you go to the doctor and find out what's causing this in you. In the academics, you go to your teacher. In the family, you think about our contributions to the pilikia. You figure out what course of action. Get the help you need. Study groups. Go to the doctor. They can diagnose the physical symptoms that may require medication, or, like me, they tell me, go get some more exercise. Puna, what kind of job you get? And when I tell them I teach at the university, they say, oh, you get desk job. So you got to exercise. And my doctor tells me, I want you to walk at least 45 minutes every day. So this morning, guess what I did? I told Aunty Manu, don't park down here. Let's go in the parking lot so I can have my morning exercise. And then my midday exercise, I go back. Yeah. So some situations are very simple. Some situations are more complex. But you know the form. So you can begin to take charge of, how do I bring myself in balance? Because that's a very Hawaiian way. Look at the things I do, teach, sit on a chair. The things I fail to do is the required 45 minutes of exercise. I have to take responsibility for that. Yeah. I'm going to entertain questions. To all of you. And you know the Hawaiian way is, you nana, you look and you watch and you observe. You ho'olohe, you listen to what is being said. And you pa'aukawaha, keep your mouth shut. And pay attention. After I finish talking story with you, that is the time I allow you to ask your questions. Or, if not questions, any thought that came to you while the explanation and the story was being shared with you. Any inspirations that you may have received. One of the tools that I use in teaching, and this will happen next semester, after I present the ideas, I'm forcing my students to reflect, and they gotta give me feedback. What does this mean to you to have been able to sit here and learn this presentation? Even if it only means, oh, what you told us tonight, no apply in my life. And it's okay. I don't mind hearing that. Because every one of us is different. But for the one who's like a sponge, as you listen, you may want to reflect on, oh, that sounds like what happened with high school with me and my friends. So we were doing it already and we didn't know it. That is what I want you to reflect on. And that's why you're seated here. Because whatever you learn in Hawaiian studies has implications for lessons that you can apply in your life. And as you're moving along in maturity, and in your physical, your spiritual, your mental development. Yeah, they're all tied together from the time you were born until you get to my age. Let me share with you something this morning. And it's kind of like on the spiritual level. We were doing our protocol here. And the sky was clear. No clouds at all. But there was a moon. And it was not a full moon. And I know Hawaiians were guided in their daily lives, not so much by the sun, but it was by the moon. And my knowledge of the culture tells me that's my goddess Hina. The Mahina is representative of the goddess Hina. Hina was the healer. And so I immediately connected it as we were chanting. There's a chant, E Hoʻomaʻemaʻe. Grant to me the wisdom of the unknown message of the ancestors. So as we were chanting it, I literally and emotionally was saying, Hina, what does the shape of your form mean in the daily life of Hawaiians for today? What is the message for me in what I do in my life today? And I was so excited and I was so attuned to that Hawaiian spiritual part of me to connect with my Hawaiian goddess, the moon, because she's a healer. And if I understand the face, and there are courses that are being conducted now for people to understand Hawaiian moon phases, because it told the farmer when to plant. It told the fisherman when to refrain from fishing. It told the fisherman that this is a season for this type of fish. This is the time to go out. So it also is the time about, what about healing? What does that phase mean in relation to healing? So for me, it was personal. And I became spiritually in tune with that this morning. Yeah. So as old as I am and as knowledgeable as I am, I don't know everything. And so, but I believe that these natural signs that reflect my Hawaiian belief in spiritual entities are the guides for how I may better conduct myself. Yeah. So I'm talking to you, with you folks about an earlier part in your life to how to become in balance. And what I experienced as we opened the protocol this morning in this hale, I was seeking to understand how to bring myself in balance based upon the sign I got from the gods. So I'm still learning too, on a higher level and on a deeper level. So I offer you that connection, and it's a way of restoring harmony and balance. It's a way of helping me to guide my conduct so that it is pono. And then I don't have to ho'opono. So throughout your life, that's your future.
I have a question, Aunty. What's some other cultural tools that are used for being able to protect different things when you've done things that are within your control and then you have to allow that to not be affecting you? What's some other tools that our culture had to being able to protect us from continuing to take on things that are not within our control?
Okay, let me talk a little bit to that. Remember that process I said you have to, it's okay to turn to that higher power because they guide you into recognizing the process of making yourself pono is honest and it's righteous. It is good. So if you believe in that, then when you do things, it is with genuineness and deep sincerity because you're writing yourself first. The next step is that the cue is, once you have insight about this, you now have to take a course of action with people outside of you. Okay? And because it is a pono way of doing things, the key is to remember you don't have control of other people, but you do have control over your own conduct to make things to right. And because they're not ready, it doesn't mean it has to exist between the two of you. What it does mean, you leave the problem there. You no longer have to carry it with you because you have cleared yourself by turning to your spiritual strength. You have made that righteous effort. But it also means you cannot turn your back on the individuals. And it does mean you still have to respond in a genuine way to that idea of restoring the harmony and balance. But be prepared, it can only be fully restored when the person is ready to meet you halfway. So letting go means don't make it your problem again. You've done what you need to do. And you're not turning your back on that individual, but don't allow their negatives to come into your life. My husband had this saying, once you restore pono in yourself and you make the effort to bring things into harmony, build your pig fences.
Yeah, totally.
Build your pig fences around you so that nothing from the outside can penetrate, to you. The pig was one of the preferred gifts and offerings you can give to the spiritual gods. So figuratively, The pig represents that object or that state of being that is very worthy. Don't think of the kukai and the mess and all of that. The pig represented one of the highest forms of offerings you can make to the gods. The pig represents also the best that you have within you. So if you build your fences, you made the effort to restore harmony. Don't fall into the trap of saying, oh, they're still mad with me, and then you react again. Leave it. Keep your pig fences up. Yeah. But you got to practice at it, because if you're not used to doing that, very difficult, because you can get sucked in again. Your mind, because of your belief, helps you to keep up the pig fences. Thank you for that question.
Thanks for the answer.
Because it certainly is something that we all struggle with. How can I still be a friend when I get the rebuff all the time? Yeah. When we were doing the protocol this morning, it was to open the hale again. So discussions of this nature can take place in here, that lessons about Hawaiian practices, arts, and healing can take place in here. So out there is a kuahu. Okay. It's a symbolic representation of the aina and the importance of this piece of land that this university resides on. So for me, the protocol opens that connection every Monday morning with the aina. But for me, my connection draws in the aina, but I take in the spiritual entities that I believe in. So immediately, I'm open to the aina, but I'm open to the elements. Ho'ailona are signs of nature that give you cues about life's meaning for you. And when I saw the moon, I know that the moon is a body form of the goddess Hina. And Hina is a healer. Hina, with her husband Ku, were healers. And so that important information then opens me up further. The shape of the moon indicates there's a particular message I need to get. And because I don't know the moon that well, I gotta go do my homework. It opens a whole realm of meaning for me. So like you, to bring balance and harmony, and in my work as a healer, I gotta get more information. And this is what you were encouraged to do, yeah. The interpretation of the symbol is really key. And so, it opened the door for having meaning to the chant that we were chanting. Because the chant that we had been uttering was to ask the ancestors to help us understand the deeper meaning, the hidden meaning that is known to the spiritual world. And lo and behold, there it was. So I could make that kind of connection. And I began with this hale, knowing the purpose, so I could center myself, addressing it to something that is an object that we channel to. But from that object, it branched to the universe. And for me, that was my journey this morning. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question.
That would form and essence.
Yeah. Yeah. Form and essence. We chant the chant all the time. And it could have been the chant about the Aina, because we chant it all the time. But it was when we started chanting, reveal to me or grant to me the deeper hidden meaning. And at that point, I was sending my request to the spiritual world. And then I saw it. And then I got my answer. But it also means I got my work cut out for me. Now I gotta go find out some more. Yeah. So let me turn to the kumu. What question do you think needs to be articulated for me to either expand upon or to address?
How can you help to address vulnerability or make us, create more avenues for safety to be more vulnerable on both sides of them?
Yeah, okay. You know what she means by vulnerability? It is, let me try. Vulnerability is something that affects you deeply. And you don't know how to deal with it. And so there's internal tension within yourself. Sometimes the tension is squishy, little bit, but sometimes the tension is very serious. And so it consumes your thinking and all of your energy. And when you become vulnerable, that means you're very unsure of yourself. So in order for you to do something about it like I proposed, think about your mind, your spirit, and the body. Figure out where that vulnerability is coming from. And then if it's related to academics, related to the doctor, going to find out what needs to happen. But if it's related to interpersonal relationships, the degree of vulnerability is different for each one. The easiest is, I could tell the doctor. And more than likely, those that you live with are going to tell you, I'm taking you in to the doctor. And usually you go because the doctor in the past has demonstrated they help you. Okay? So that's the physical part. Academics, your first year in this kind of system, you're still trying to get acquainted with your own adjustment. And you don't know the instructors because you haven't been long enough here on campus to hear the stories about what teachers are okay teachers to turn to. So the degree of vulnerability is due to lack of information, of not knowing who to turn to. If you're like me, I go on the recommendation of my friends who tell me that teacher is right on. Oh, a teacher, I'd stay away. So your degree of vulnerability for your academics is going to be based upon what you hear is available and whether or not you feel you can place yourself in that teacher's hands. So that determines from their part how they're going to make use of the resources and the degree to which the information that they have assures them of a sympathetic listener, a person who can provide help that has been useful. And in some ways, it's examining the credentials of the teacher. When I went out to do Ho'oponopono, I had people in the community who said to me direct to my face, "What gives you the right to do this? How did you learn to do this? Only at the university?" Because if I said at the university, they would have thumbs down. Because this kind of work I do, you don't get at the university. They were interested in checking out, is this a person we can trust with aspects of my life that hurt me deeply? That's vulnerability. They wanted some assurance I had the credentials to be able to help them in a way that is sincere and concernful. And that's what you struggled with coming to the university, because you don't know the teachers. But it takes time. And if your friends say, "I went and talked to her, hey, she's okay," or "he's okay," or if they say to you that you went to talk to that teacher and the teacher only gave me these resources, that's not the kind of person I'm looking for. So your idea of safety is dependent on what you're looking for and what you want.
Thank you, Auntie.
Yeah. So I just spoke to vulnerability because that is what I experienced, and it was pono for the community to do that to me. It was okay. You can do it with your instructors.
Nice.
But give them a chance.